rampant in India. Already 52, more than 52 cases have been registered as on yesterday. And there are few cases in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana as well. So this is a time for us to really gather ourselves into confidence and gather ourselves into the preparation, especially when people, especially the doctors and experts are saying this time, along with everybody else, children will also suffer from COVID hugely. I mean, there were COVID, 19 cases earlier also among children, but this time the COVID Delta will be affecting children more in numbers, is what experts are saying. So we need to know, we need to wait and see how, how it's going to affect our children. At the same time, we should also be ready enough, prepared enough to handle this situation in the days to come. What is our way? Should we just, should we just wait for things to come and then we wake up, or is there a way that we can be prepared so that we take care of, we take in charge of our own children, our own people, and we fight with this virus effectively? So today we have Dr. Bhanu Prakash Garu with us on television, and we will be asking few questions, apprehensions that you might have. If you have some questions, you can watch me on YouTube, not Facebook, YouTube. You go to YouTube, go to Rakshana TV channel on YouTube, and write comments on YouTube so that I can take your comments and questions and pass it on to the expert who will be speaking to us today, Dr. Bhanu Prakash Garu. Dr. Bhanu Garu, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Praveen, sir.
How is, I mean, we have seen that European Union have given green signal to some of the vaccinations, some of the vaccine companies. Earlier they were not very highly encouraged, but we also see today that the EU has come down and given a green signal to the AstraZeneca, especially we call it Covishield in India, and at the same time, countries like Australia, etc., are also apprehensive about these vaccines. We will come back to the vaccines a little late in the show, but the most important thing that we wanted to know this evening is what is a variant actually? Why people are concerned about Delta. WHO has declared Delta Plus also a variant of concern, I think yesterday. So what do you mean by variant of concern? What do you mean by a variant actually? And why Delta Plus is looked at as if it's going to harm us too much?
See, in the last few months, we're seeing so many news reports from various parts of the world. Okay, the Delta variant has been a problem. Okay, in UK it has been a problem. In Israel it has been a problem. It has been a problem because its effects, especially in vaccinated people, and there are reports from experts that that even the vaccinated are not immune to these new variants. And now, into that context, we throw this Delta Plus variant. We used to call double mutants and triple mutants, and these things have been popping up everywhere. And now we can see the Delta Plus variant. The cases are showing up even in the remote corners of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So the Delta and Delta Plus are the variants of concern because the effects, the mortality rate that in these variants is much higher, and also even in the vaccinated people. So, and those are the reports. And if we look at these reports, they are confusing. Some people say yes, vaccines are protective against these variants, Delta variant and Delta Plus variant, and yet some other reports they say these Delta variants can escape this vaccine-induced immunity. So yes, it is overall it is these are the variants definitely of concern.
You said it can escape vaccine-induced immunity. Are you saying that even if you have two shots of Covishield or Covaxin or as you know or Pfizer, we don't have Pfizer in India yet, Sputnik 5 or Sputnik V or whatever, you're saying that there is possibility of getting infected even after you get vaccinated. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. That is what we are seeing. That is what we are seeing in India. That is what we are seeing in many countries around the world. Because, see, the thing is, these vaccines are encoded for the spike protein, the S protein of the virus. And if there is a mutation in that spike protein, the vaccine-induced immunity, that means humoral immunity that is obtained after vaccination, could be a problem, and that may not work. There are reports of this neutralizing antibodies and non-neutralizing antibodies. The antibodies that we get from these vaccines, which are encoded for the previous versions of the spike protein, they may not work in these variants. When there is a mutation in the spike protein, that is where the mutations have been. These double
But
mutants and
aren't
triple
we,
mutants.
but Dr. Bhanugaru, aren't we told that vaccines work for all variants and all mutants or mutated virus?
Well, we have been told, but I have not seen any definitive scientific evidence for that assertion. Yes, people have been saying so many things about vaccines, about the humoral immunity that is obtained by the vaccines. And, initially when the vaccine companies proclaimed that this humoral immunity may last up to 2 months or 3 months. And now, by some estimates, they say it can last 6 months. Okay, and now many things have been told about these vaccines, that vaccine-induced immunity is going to get our societies to a point of herd immunity. Okay, the problem is, if the vaccine-induced immunity, the humoral immunity that is obtained by taking the vaccines, and if it lasts anywhere from 2 months to 6 months, I cannot understand how we can get to a point where we have herd immunity in a society. So it is entirely possible, and we are seeing cases in so many cases, even after vaccination. 2 months, 3 months after vaccination, people are turning positive, and their symptoms are getting much worse than in non-vaccinated people. So these are the things that we need to honestly assess and honestly discuss. About.
So I just read a news from Reuters, and they said WHO is warning a third wave in Europe, and our ICMR and people like Guleria Sahab, who heads who gives out the information timely in India from ICMR, also informed us that there is going to be a third wave. So, but at the same time, popular leaders are also saying that nobody knows whether the third wave will come or not. Why should we actually be very worried about the third wave? Is in your opinion, is third wave going to happen, or it is just a speculation? Or if that happens, and we are already doing a lot in India with vaccination, and a lot of people are being vaccinated these days. And though there are news of the people who are being vaccinated or vaccinated with the wrong vaccines, or some scams going in the vaccination process, and people are actually not vaccinated, they're just injecting something and sending away. All those rumors are there, but provided all of them are vaccinated properly, vaccinated with the actual vaccine, why should we worry about the third wave? If that comes, since we are vaccinated, can't we just take care of it because we are vaccinated?
See, in the traditional sense of the word definition of the vaccines, you give a vaccine to large swaths of population, and that provides immunity, and that immunity lasts a long time, like maybe 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, like other vaccines, other DNA virus vaccines. If that is the case, yes, absolutely. What we, all these assertions and all these assumptions are true, can be true. Okay, but there are so many unknowns with these vaccines. Okay, that is the first thing that we need to consider. The second thing, the other thing that you ask is this. Okay, is third wave possible? Okay, Dr. Guleria sir, and they are, he is an expert in this, and he says it is inevitable. Third wave is inevitable. Okay, let's go back 5 months. Okay, so to January to February time frame. The new cases in India have dropped down to almost negligible, almost 10,000 cases per day. Okay, so that is what, if anybody had considered the question whether second wave is going to happen in India, it would have been there is no discussion that people would have said, okay, there is no third wave.
Yeah, we discussed it in Rakshana TV though, that there is a possibility of second wave. You and I did a program, and you did a couple of programs in Telugu also.
Yes.
But well, we discussed about it. Yes.
And yes, we discussed about it, and we said there will be a second wave, and in fact there was, and also if you look at any country, okay, where the vaccination program has been successful, okay, the vaccination curve was followed by the infection curve. Okay, and as vaccinations were increasing, okay, the infections were also increasing, and that is exactly what we have seen in the second wave. Okay, the vaccinations they started in January, and by February end they picked up pace. Okay, and now around February, middle to end of February, the new cases were 10,000 cases per day. New cases per day, and by March, there were alarm bells ringing all over, and there are 50,000, 1 lakh cases, 2 lakh cases, 3 lakh cases, 4 lakh cases. By May, 5 lakhs of new cases daily as people were getting vaccinated. That has been the case in Chile. That has been the case in Europe, in many European countries. That has been the case everywhere in the world. I think we need to take a look at the raw data and in an objective manner. Okay, there is vaccine is going to work, and we will not have lockdowns, and we don't have to wear masks, and we can go back to the life how it used to be 2 years ago. All this is wishful thinking. We are people. We live on hope. Okay, so humanity lives on hope, and all these hopeful scenarios that are presented, they have to have basis in reality. Okay, and I do not see that basis here. Okay, the thing is, vaccines are going to protect us. Yeah, I would like to believe that. Okay, and I don't want anything more than that. I wish these remedies that we are using, I wish they are going to work. But the thing is, reality doesn't confirm that. And also, the third wave is a reality which is coming. There is no way to avoid the third wave. There is no way to avoid the third wave, because Delta and Delta plus variants, and now they are talking about Lambda variant, which was identified in as early as in August of last year, and that is making its rounds in almost 29 plus countries. So there are more and more and more variants. The thing is, as vaccination started in March 24th of this year, the Ministry of Health released a report saying they tested 10,900 samples, and they isolated 771 new variants. Where are all these variants coming from? And all of last year,
so what do you say? What do you say, Dr. Bhanu? What do you say, Dr. Bhanu? Based on whatever study you have done from the mutation of the viruses, etc., what do you say? Where are these mutations coming from? How are these variants forming? Like, is it because why are vaccine-induced immunity is not able to handle these mutations? Why are they mutating if we are handling them well?
Okay, so that is a wonderful question. I think we need to consider it at a little bit at length. First of all, what are these vaccines encoded for? See, except the Covaxin, all of the vaccines are encoded for the spike protein. Okay, and there is a, see, this virus is about 100 to 130 nanometers in length, in diameter. That is the size of this vaccine, this virus. And then you have the spike protein, which is an order of magnitude smaller, probably 10 times or 15 times smaller than the virus itself. So these vaccines are encoded for that spike protein. Okay, so most of all the antibodies that are generated by taking this vaccine are against that spike protein. See, everybody agrees that the spike protein is the strongest aspect of the virus. Okay, and if we want to attack something, if we want to attack a pathogen, we want to attack from all fronts, not just at the strongest part of the pathogen. Okay, and if we attack the strongest part of the pathogen, that forces mutations. This is not what I am saying. It is what has been reported in the literature. Okay, so
Yeah, for the benefit of the viewers to understand, can you make it more can you make it more soluble, more easy for us to understand? What do you mean by what you just said now?
what I said is, see, the antibodies that are generated by these vaccines are attacking this virus on the spike protein.
Okay. Okay.
And see, all living beings are equipped with strategies, to sustain their life. Okay, no, that is true even with viruses. Okay, so that forces mutations in the virus. The thing is, if we keep on attacking one organism at some point, and that can fortify, okay, the areas that are being attacked. Okay, this is a very simple terms. That is what is in question here. So we keep on attacking the spike protein. That is what is producing mutations in the spike protein. That is where the double mutation. That is where the triple mutation is. That is where Delta and Delta plus variants came from.
Okay, so because we are attacking but not attacking, because we are attacking, the virus is mutating to a level that it crosses, or it denies, or it defies the attack and changes its form. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is, in raw terms, yeah, absolutely. That is true.
So if that changes its shape, or if one mutation escapes certain feature or certain way of the antibodies that function, then where is the shield for us? How are we protected? What is the let me put it in a more easy way for the audience also to understand. Then we don't understand all of this science. We don't understand all of this mutation, variants, and all of that. But what we understand is, how do I protect myself, my family from this virus? We thought it is vaccine, and probably it might help. But apart from that, what can I do? How do I prepare myself for this third wave?
First of all, okay, that is a great question, Praveen. So, first of all, what we need to understand is the process. Okay, whether we are injected with the vaccine or we get exposed to the wild virus, the process of going from point A to point B, that is point A, the time of infection, to point B, the time of the B cells are activated and the antibodies are produced. The pathway is the same. Okay, all that pathway needs to be controlled. That immune responses, okay, all the same, whether it is by the vaccine or whether it is by the viral infection. Okay, and also another thing that we need to look at is 90% of the population is they are able to mount proper immune response to this virus, and they don't even know that they got this virus. Okay, and they have antibodies. Many people have gotten this infection and have gotten over it even without experiencing a single symptom. Okay, and they have good antibody titer. Okay, but the problem is with a certain percentage of the population, that is, I would say about 10% of the population, where the immune responses are not proper. Okay, this is the
mm,
disease of the immune system. Okay, if immune system does not go in the right path, okay, that is where it can put all of us, the person, a person who is dealing with it, at severe risk. Okay, and it is the whether it is the virus or whether it is the vaccine, our immune system must be modulated properly, otherwise we are in trouble. By taking the vaccine, people are dying. We know, we are getting these news stories, even young people, after 10 days after taking the vaccine, they succumb to this vaccine, even here. And I will tell you what, about in first 5 months of giving the vaccines here in the US, that as reported by the VAERS database, there are almost
mm,
6,000 to 7,000 deaths in the US.
mm,
If any drug caused that many deaths, that will be under a lot of scrutiny.
mm,
7,000 deaths that were reported to the vaccine adverse event reporting system. Anybody can go to the CDC and VAERS database and take a look at all that data. Okay?
mm,
Same thing is happening in India. Same thing is happening all around the world. Okay? There is an extreme amount of fear because this disease can kill a person, who is perfectly healthy to almost in 10 days or less. Yes, there
mm,
is a and vaccines can do the same thing. And if our immune system is not functioning properly, this is what we've been saying from the beginning. Let's apply simple solutions. Let us correct the vitamin D levels because vitamin D plays an extremely important role in immune modulation. Okay, and this is the disease of the immune system. We need to bring populations that we need to correct the nutritional balance, okay, so that their immune system is working properly. So there you have it.
mm, mm. So, I mean, I'm not sure about the number of deaths after the vaccination, etc., because India doesn't publish any of such numbers. So, I would rather just be quiet on that particular matter. However, as you mentioned, the source of your information that in US such and such deaths are happening. Let's put it aside for a bit and let's talk about. Talk about the efficacy of the vaccines that are available right now. Based on your information, what is the efficacy? And say earlier we were told that it is about 80% efficacy, 90%, 98% efficacy. What is your opinion about the vaccine efficacy that is used in US?
See, I'm
If it is,
extremely very.
you can talk about AstraZeneca, you can talk about Sputnik, and you can also talk about Pfizer and Johnson and Johnson.
Okay. See, I'm not involved in vaccination directly and vaccine research directly, but what I can
Mm,
go by is the data that is reported. Okay. And
mm,
initially they said, everybody said, okay, these vaccines are 90% effective, and that number went up to 94%, 95% effective, and 96% effective. Now nobody is talking about the efficacy, okay, of these vaccines anymore. Okay, this 90-95% figure stands. That is an old figure, probably 4, 5, 6 months old, and there are rumblings in India that these vaccines are 60% effective or 50% effective. So these numbers are all over the place. Okay.
mm,
So I do not have any solid data to make any comment on that aspect.
mm, mm. Okay. So if we come back to our original question, how do we protect ourselves? You are suggesting that we make our immunity stronger, and you have been saying that for quite a number of days now. We have done so many programs on this channel with you in Telugu, in English, etc. And you have been talking about the immunity and how we make our immunity stronger, whether this virus or some other virus, but if our immunity is stronger, it can definitely handle. But is that where we stop? Just take. how does it actually work? How can I get the confidence that you're suggesting me that take D vitamin, whereas ICMR, or there are so many other public health related or government agencies that are coming forward and suggesting so many drugs like antiviral, ivermectin, and they have also suggested a lot of you know, a lot of other drugs which actually caused some issues, but they're still using. And some YouTube channel speakers, they're also doctors, practicing doctors for about 30 years, 40 years. They came forward and they suggested some things like Budekar, things like so basically, methylprednisol, etc., etc. And you are saying time and again, and you're not changing anything in what you say, and you're just saying that just take D vitamin. How can I buy into what you're saying, Dr. Bhanu?
Well, truth is brutal when we hear, when we don't believe it. Okay, so from the beginning, this disease has been about dysfunctional immune system. Okay, and the drugs that have been proposed and the drugs that are being used are for their antiviral properties. Most of the effort has been focused on this antiviral drugs, and then this immunosuppressants like methylprednisolone or dexamethasone or budecort inhalation. So that's it. These are the agents that are available. Okay, there is nothing to address the immune system in these therapeutic agents. Okay, when the problem is with the immune system, when the problem is uncontrolled immune responses, if the immune system is not modulated properly, we need to take a look at that. Okay, what causes this immune dysfunction in an organism, in a person? Okay, and that is where we are going. That is the root cause. That is where the problem is. Okay, and yes, these adjuvants and these things can work, and antivirals can work, bringing down the viral load. Okay, but the problem with antivirals is they are applied at the wrong time. Okay, remdesivir is given when the person is severely ill in the hospitals. That is when there is no viral activity. Virus is not replicating at that point. That time has come and gone. Okay, maybe remdesivir could be useful if it is administered early when the patient is asymptomatic. But who is willing to spend almost 30 to 40,000 rupees per injection, almost 10 to 12 injections, when the person is asymptomatic, when the person doesn't even believe he has the disease? And the ivermectin, the same thing with ivermectin. Okay, ivermectin is being used after the symptoms start. Okay, ivermectin must be used. Ivermectin or all these the antiviral drugs, they must be used when the patient is asymptomatic, when the patient just got exposed. That is when they have the potential to bring down the viral load. Okay, but once we miss that window of opportunity, the only agent that is available right now is immunosuppressants, like methylprednisolones. We know exactly how they are working. Yes, as you mentioned, there are TV personalities who were recommending 500 milligrams of methylprednisolone 2 times a day. That is 1 gram, 1,000 milligrams of methylprednisolone 2 times a day, without even paying attention to any consequences, which we are seeing right now. People's jawbones are being completely removed. People's skulls are being the major part of their skulls are being removed. These are young people from rural areas. Okay, in rural areas, these doctors, RMP doctors and other doctors in rural areas have taken cues from these TV personalities. Okay, and have started giving these extremely high doses of methylprednisolone, and now we have this severe black fungus cases that are coming up. Okay, and the people are losing eyesight. Their eyes are being gouged out as we speak. There are hundreds of cases.
Wasn't that an effect, or wasn't that an effort of saving people's lives? by using
Absolutely.
these, steroids.
No question about it. These all these doctors and TV personalities, I don't have anything against them, and they are doing everything they can to save lives. Okay,
Mm,
and
mm,
the problem is the disease is so vicious. Okay,
mm,
and
mm,
they are doing everything that they know, and all the protocols
mm,
that they were educated on, they're using these tools, and none of these doctors want people to die or people to suffer these consequences. But what I'm
mm,
saying is, this is a completely new territory, and we have not
mm,
seen this kind of illness before, and that is the
mm,
reason why we need to consider 1,000 milligrams of methylprednisolone has an impact, because in the rural areas people are exposed to these black fungal spores on a routine basis. Okay, and
mm,
when the person's immune system is suppressed to such an extent, where they have been taking so much methylprednisolone for for a week or 10 days, and their sugars are
mm,
high, and the tissue is almost as dead. Okay, and you have sugars, you have a tissue that is the perfect medium for the fungus to grow, and it is
mm,
doing exactly.
mm, mm. So we in your language, I can clearly see that you have a lot of respect to and for for and the kind of work that the doctors are putting in. So thank you so much for that. We do appreciate your gesture of honoring those life saving heroes that are working for us and with us in those in those not very comfortable situations when everybody else is afraid and frightened and they're inside. But these doctors go out as warriors into these ICUs. They go out as warriors into these hospital wards, and they're saving a lot of lives. However, still have a question. Um, the steroids, as you rightly mentioned, that have been used, and in my own family, I took one of my cousin's wife to a different hospital, like about 400, 550 or 600 kilometers from here, drove all the night and got her operated for mucormycosis, which is popularly known as black fungus. And the reason for that operation is the usage of methylprednisolone for a longer times prescribed by the doctor. I or my cousin or my family members, we don't know. We are not doctors. We used what the doctor said, and the result was people who did not use what the doctor said, they got cured of COVID, and this person also got cured of COVID in the same time, but she got mucormycosis. So in one way, we are thanking doctors for the cure that they have provided from COVID. But on the other side, we don't know what to do for the mucormycosis, which is more of a self-induced or drug-induced. How do we look at it? Then the question that comes out is the suggestion that you are making today, like D vitamin and using the tablet form or the liquid form of D vitamin or chewable form of D vitamin, that it also has some toxicity, as we have discussed in our previous programs also. So what is the benefit, what is the guarantee to the audience that we will not end up in such mess after having what you are prescribing, Dr. Bhanu?
Okay, see, first of all, this is vitamin D is a nutritional supplement. Okay, it's not a medication, so to speak. And also one more thing
Mm,
is, yes, there is vitamin D toxicity. Okay, vitamin D
mm,
toxicity is not fatal. Okay, and
mm,
vitamin D toxicity, first of all, the vitamin D is being recommended in these doses because the population as a whole is vitamin D deficient, and maintaining vitamin D levels. Okay, so the literature is replete with evidence that if the vitamin D levels are maintained between 80 and 100 nanograms per ml, and the mortality in that group is zero due to COVID. Okay, People, even if people get infected with COVID, the symptoms are so mild, and they develop antibodies within almost, without any without suffering any serious consequences. Okay, so that is one thing. The second thing is, if a person is in a severe cytokine storm and their lungs are getting actively destroyed. Okay, what else is there? Okay, you have high dose steroids on one hand, which can cause mucormycosis, and mucormycosis is a very serious illness. Based on where it affects, it could be fatal very quickly. Okay, that is that, that is that aspect of it with immunosuppressants. What we are talking about is immunomodulation. So the thing is, these immune reactions can be predictably and repeatably controlled by proper application and continuous administration of vitamin D. There is no question about that. Okay. So what about vitamin D toxicity? And vitamin D is not like, it is not a, in the previous understanding, like 30, 40, 50 years ago, what we understood is vitamin D is fat soluble vitamin, and that is the reason why it could be toxic. If that is true, 90% of the population of the world, 80 to 90% of the population would not be deficient in vitamin D. Would not be. Okay, because if it is fat soluble, and if it is stored in the body, and if it is the serum concentrations of vitamin D will not go to deficient levels at all. Okay, but population is facing deficiency, so that means we have a problem. Either we have a problem in understanding of vitamin D toxicity or vitamin D pharmacodynamics. Okay, and also one more thing about vitamin D is, let's say you push your vitamin D levels to 200. Let's say that is, according to your 200 nanograms per ml. According to your lab report, it is toxic. Okay, wait 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks, and that comes down to 100, because the half-life of calcifidiol is 14 days. So that means you don't supplement with vitamin D, and your vitamin D level drops to 100. And you wait 2 more weeks, it drops to 50. You wait 2 more weeks, you're deficient. So from 200 to say in 6 weeks, you wait 6 weeks without any supplementation, now you're deficient. From toxic to deficient level. Okay, let's look at what vitamin D toxicity is. Okay, vitamin D toxicity, the first symptom of vitamin D toxicity is your calcium level goes up. Okay, your creatinine level goes up. Okay, and the creatinine level going up can be misinterpreted as the kidneys are getting destroyed. No such thing. There is evidence that this vitamin D receptor activation and causes the proteins, the protein metabolism to go up, and that is the reason why your creatinine level is going up, and that is protective. Okay, and if your vitamin D level is high and your creatinine is high, do not worry. That is, your kidney is not getting destroyed. Okay, that is, the vitamin D receptor activation is protecting your kidneys. Okay, that is a protective mechanism. Okay, that is not nephrotoxicity, it is nephroprotective. Okay, the second thing is the calcium levels. That can be brought down very easily within 2 to 3 weeks. And also, yes, we had to give so much of vitamin D to save, people who are in active cytokine storm, and people did live even after all, their steroid therapy in the hospitals. And, with steroids, one more thing is, it causes delayed cytokine storm. Okay, steroids upregulate neutrophils. This neutrophilia causes delayed cytokine storm. Initially, there is cytokine storm, which destroys the lungs. Okay, now they are on these immunosuppressants in the hospital, and they are given oxygen, and they're improving. And many people were told, you know what, you're going to be discharged. Okay, we are going to put you from ICU to the regular ward in 2 days. And and that time, the delayed cytokine storm hits, and lungs are destroyed all over again, and they end up on the ventilators and they die. Okay, this is the scene that is repeating all over the hospitals. Okay.
And so let me ask you one technical question here for the benefit of the viewers. You are using 2 words very regularly. One is cytokine storm, and the second one is neutrophil storm. What do you mean by cytokine storm? How does it initiate in the body? Number 2, what is the relation between the usage of the drug usage or usage of say methylprednisolone or whatever, the drug that doctor prescribes for ivermectin or whatever the doctor prescribes as a Budecort or any other steroids that we use, does it stimulate, does it raise the, or does it cause our body to produce more cytokines? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, not the Budecort. Budecort is inhaled corticosteroid. It goes to the site of the inflammation, that is the lungs. Okay, that is okay. That is fine. But what we are talking about is the systemic steroids like methylprednisolone, dexamethasone. What it does is, see, as we are giving this extremely high dose steroids, body is not sitting still. Body is, there are, it is taking evasive action. That is, neutrophils are upregulated. Neutrophils are the cells that are the immune cells. They are getting upregulated. That means neutrophils go from, 45%, 50%, 60%, 70, 80, 90%, and, the people end up in neutrophilia within 2 or 3 days, 4 days of administering.
So what does it cause? What is wrong in raising neutrophils?
Okay, beautiful, wonderful question. Okay, the initial cytokines that are released, okay, are from other immune cells. Okay, and now if you have more neutrophils, that is larger volume of neutrophils, neutrophils also can.
Yeah. It looks like Dr. Bhanu, we lost you. Yes.
Yes, neutrophils do not respond to corticosteroids. Okay, so you cannot suppress neutrophils with steroids. Okay, only thing that it responds to is proper vitamin D administration. So vitamin D modulates our immune system. It does not suppress the immune system, but it modulates the immune system. It brings down where it needs to be brought down, but it upregulates the immune system where it needs to protect, where it has protective effects on our body. Okay, so neutrophils, cytokines that are coming from neutrophils are the reason for the delayed cytokine storm. Okay, initially the IL-6, 50, 60, 100 in the initial stage, initial cytokine storm, but in the delayed cytokine storm, it can be 10 times higher.
So you need to watch your IL-6 now and then. I mean, the doctors do it actually. You need to watch your IL-6, and if the number goes up, that's an alarm. Is what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. Neutrophils, if the neutrophils are going up, watch out. Okay, the delayed cytokine storm is right around the corner, and that delayed cytokine storm, in spite of all the hopeful predictions of good meaning clinicians and doctors, that delayed cytokine storm put somebody out very quickly, and the lungs can be destroyed within no time at all.
So I understand that, as you rightly said, that the world is learning about this virus very slowly, and we are making progress. We are moving ahead with the vaccination, with the drugs, and we are changing a lot of drugs now and then. We are suggesting new drugs. So a lot of things are happening. However, you are suggesting right from the beginning D vitamin, D vitamin, and D vitamin. Is that the only thing that we have to do, or can we do anything else as well along with D vitamin?
With this, as with any other illness, there is a saying: prevention is better than cure. That is, that could not be more true with this disease. You see, the thing is, it is the prevention is. I think we all need to focus on prevention as a society. If we take up the vitamin D correction, okay, and let go of all these, what is it, outdated notions of vitamin D. Okay, vitamin D is toxic. You have to take once a week for only 4 weeks and stop it. Then where are we? We are, see, if it is that simple to correct vitamin D levels, why is everybody deficient in vitamin D? Okay, and let's take it up. Okay, let's, according to what I'm suggesting, let's for 2 weeks or for a week. Okay, let's give aggressive dosing and then go to weekly dosing of vitamin D, and let's measure people's vitamin D levels in 2 to 3 months. And that is the only way. You know what? That is prevention. Okay, we are not suggesting anything radical here. It is, these kinds of doses have been used world over, and there is documentation, there is published literature in peer-reviewed journals. These high doses of vitamin D that we are suggesting over a short period will not cause any toxicity, and there is no, and we can correct people's vitamin D levels. Let's bring people's vitamin D levels to between 80 and 100 nanograms per ml, and let's see how this third wave affects us. Okay, and also it is not a public policy initiative. Or, it is, yes, public policy issue, as well as it is grassroots initiative as well. Okay, I think that is the reason, Rakshana TV has done so many programs. Okay, I have been talking about it for the past year and a half. Okay, we are not suggesting. My goal is not to make people toxic on vitamin D. No, that is not my goal. It is to preserve life, and it is to properly bring up correct vitamin D levels and maintain those levels. That's all I'm saying. That's all we are saying.
Okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. And as we continue in our discussion, one last question. Again, coming back to the vaccination for your. I'm going to take a question from the YouTube viewers. One of our viewers said, even after the vaccination, can we continue using D3 as a precaution? Is what he's saying.
You know what? Even after vaccination, that is a great question. Especially after vaccination, you must maintain your vitamin D levels, because if vaccinated people, if all those predictions and all that literature that I have seen is true, okay, and that does not bode well, for the outcomes of vaccinated people if they are infected with new strains of this virus. Okay, in that context, for them to maintain vitamin D levels between 80 and 100 nanograms per ml is non-negotiable. So yes,
Okay.
Maintaining. See, ask your clinicians, ask your doctors. Okay, doctor, we want my vitamin D level between 80 and 100 nanograms per ml. How do we do it? Okay, ask them. And just get yourself measured. Okay, every 3 months, get a vitamin D test. Okay, and maintain between 80 and 100 nanograms per ml. After 2 or 3 tests, you will have a good sense, okay, of how much vitamin D you would need. Okay, and for me, I take about 10 to 15,000 units daily of vitamin D, and my levels are around 120 to 130 nanograms per ml.
So 10 to 15,000, if you say, it is about 15,000 multiplied by 7, which is like more than what we regularly believe that we should take only 60,000 units per week. So are you suggesting that we can take more than 60,000 units per week?
Yes, it depends. It depends. My body is my weight is about 95 kilograms. Okay, so based on the weight, and based on the exposure, and based on the inflammatory stress individual goes through, you may need more vitamin D or you may need less vitamin D. So that is the reason why this continuous testing is important. Once you test yourself after 3 months, after a proper amount of supplementation, then you will know whether to increase that dose or decrease that dose.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, Dr. Bhanu. I know you have more things to catch up in the day, and thank you very much for giving us some time. And I believe that this program has been a great blessing to our viewers. And I just want to reiterate once again that Dr. Bhanu is a pharmacologist. He's a pharmacist, and he also is from the medical background, but though he's not a clinician or a trained medical doctor, he's got his own.
I'm clinically trained pharmacist. I'm a clinical pharmacist. I'm clinically trained. I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm a clinically trained clinical pharmacist.
Yeah, clinically trained clinical pharmacist. Thank you very much for correcting me on that. And we respect the doctors, we respect the science, and we respect what doctors are doing. However, we just want to make sure that we want to be a little bit of cautious about what we are doing. Don't be very, don't panic. At the same time, don't be complacent because you took 2 jabs of vaccine and now you're a superhero kind of guy and you just go out not taking any precautions. No, what Dr. Bhanu is saying is please respect the science and understand what's going on. Since we are learning how to deal with this virus, why don't you prevent it better, rather than running for the cure? Prevent it to enter into your body. Maintain your immunity levels higher, and and maintain it with vitamin D. And Dr. Bhanu is also running a help center with numbers that can be displayed on the screen, and we can also post it on the Facebook and also on YouTube. You can call, you can contact, and get more information how to take and what amount of D vitamin should you take. So don't be complacent, rather be cautious. Be cautious about your family, especially be cautious about your children. On that note, one last question that I forgot, Dr. Bhanu. How do you think that this third wave is going to affect children, and how much of the D vitamin can we give to children, especially neonatal, less than like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? How are we going to take care of them?
Yes. Yeah, I have a chart that was prepared. I think your audience can get it if they call Rakshana TV. That is
Mm.
based on the age, and there is a maintenance dose and there is a treatment a dose of vitamin D if should they be affected. Yes, even in children, the immune dysfunction is rampant in India. So we need to protect them from the third wave or whatever wave. So vitamin D correction can help whether they are infants or whether they are senior citizens, 90, 95 plus years old or 100 years old. Even 100-year-olds have taken vitamin D in the doses we suggested after COVID infection, and they have come out with flying colors. Okay, and also even little children. Okay, the monitoring is very important. We need to be very careful and correct their vitamin D levels even now, again, before the third wave hits. And also one more thing is these doctors, they are doing a heroic effort in with the limited resources that they have. And you know what, that is they are unsung heroes in this pandemic. There is no question about that. There is no question. But what we need to understand is this is a team effort. Okay, doctor plays an important part of that team, and the families play an important part of that team, and everybody else. This is a disease that we cannot just just like any other treat like any other chronic disease. This is a very quick, fast moving disease. So family members must be involved in the patient care, even in the ICU setting. Okay, and this team has to. I think this team effort. I think doctors form an important role, and I salute the doctors that are doing all this. Have been doing this work for the past year and a half. Okay, and thank you so much for bringing me in here, and also thank you so much for reiterating that fact about doctors.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhanu. And that is for today. I hope this program has been a blessing to all of you. And we will meet you with yet another program. Especially tomorrow, we will be doing Bharatiya Kraistava Dinam, Indian Christian Day. In Hindi, it is Yeshu Bhakti Divas. We will be doing a very special program, and all the eminent people across the India, especially Telugu speaking India, we will be hosting them. We will be doing a great program for all of you, and we'll be going through a lot of history, and through that history, we will be giving you an opportunity to celebrate what this community, Christian community, has offered to this country in building this country. And the reason that we are doing that is because Saint Thomas, who came to India, was killed on July 3rd. So on Saturday, we will be doing a program on Yeshu Bhakti Divas, or Bharatiya Kraistava Dinam, or Indian Christian Day in English, in memory of the death, or in memory of the murder of Saint Thomas, who came and brought gospel to us, and because of whom we are what we are today. India is what it is today because of the gospel and the light of the Bible, the word of God that came to our nation. So keep watching, keep praying for Rakshana TV. Until then, thank you very much.